AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show. The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Buddy Ray.
Good morning, race fans, and welcome to the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. Get to Joe's today, where it's the only place that you can find out what it's like to be a driver in one of these karts. It's asphalt road course racing indoors, which this time of year, it's a great time to be indoors with the cold streak we've had lately. Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs, 23rd Avenue, over by Ruby Tuesdays, Quaker Station Lube, AMC Theaters, Mid-America Center, Bass Pro Shop. It's all in that one little area. Get over there today and find out what it's like to race a goat kart with no governor on it. It's an absolute ball, and I guarantee you will get off wanting more when you get out of those karts at Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. More information online at joeskarting.com, or check out their Facebook page. Just search Joe's Karting, and it is with an apostrophe to track it down. Joined in the studio today by a good buddy of the show and a man who, busier than heck. I've never seen a man more busy in my life, yet always wearing a smile. Joe Kosiski, thanks for joining us, bud.
Hey, thank you for asking me.
Joe, obviously one of the things you do today, you do in your everyday business, running Kosiski Auto Parts, a good sponsor of this show, and thank you so much for sponsoring the Legends of the Dirt series again. We've had some great drivers on, and we still got a lot of great ones to go, and helping us to organize the Walk Down Sunset Lane, which we'll get to, so thank you for all that you do for the show. I
appreciate it. I think the show's worth it. I love the Legends of the Dirt part of it. I'm glad that Joe's Karting allows us to be part of it.
It's a great, and it's all about just promoting dirt series and racing and having a good time and basically just sitting around. The only thing I wish we could do is have a beer while we do it.
Well, when you do your live shows, it's a little early in the morning.
Yeah. For some people, it's never too early to start drinking, but I think everyone, it's best for everyone if I don't start drinking, because turn 4 would get a little crazy if we did. I'm a slight lightweight, which you've experienced that before.
Yeah, not a slight lightweight, just you've heard of the welder weight.
Yeah. How's everything going for you over there, Kosiski Auto Parts?
Everything's been busy. We've been, I couldn't ask for things to be better right now.
Great.
We're selling a lot of parts. We're getting a lot of deliveries. We go from Grand Island to Des Moines to Kansas City, Sioux City, and all around town every day. So we got 5 delivery trucks go out of there every morning, and it's been great.
How do you do with the deliveries? Is there a minimum amount to get free delivery? Do you charge by the mile?
Some of it's free delivery. It just depends on the purchase and how far it's taken us off our line that we usually drive, and things like that. But a lot of it's free delivery. I'm going to tell you most of it's free, but that's what we do.
All right, quality used parts at an affordable price. The thing that I really love about you guys the most is that I walk in there, and we made that ad that we ran on the show for a long time. The snot-nosed little brat behind the counter at the auto parts store that has no idea what you're talking about. You tell him you need this part, and he just looks it up on a computer and says, "This is it." I can't tell you how many times I've gotten the wrong part, and I've been SOL because there was one time I was changing the gasket on my oil pan. What am I going to do when I discovered I had the wrong gasket? I can't put it all back together, so right. I got to walk all the way back down to the auto parts store and explain to him that no, this isn't the part for my truck. I need a different one. Oh, well, you must have a different... Yeah. No, that kind of stuff at Kosiski Auto Parts, it's not just looking it up on a computer. Your guys actually know these parts like the back of their hands.
They have to. We have to know that in our business. And the thing is that probably what you're talking about, they maybe never asked, you never gave them a VIN number. Mm-hmm. Hey, the VIN number is the biggest part of getting the right part for anything. You always want to give that VIN number.
What I ended up finding out was that my truck apparently was one of the first ones to come off the line. So it was still using 2010 parts.
Right.
Despite the fact that it was a 2011. So,
right.
But Kosiski Auto Parts and warranties, too. You can pick up warranties for these parts, so they're not just going to fail on you tomorrow and you're out that money. You can get a good warranty to go with it.
We got up to lifetime warranties. A car battery, I don't know how many of them we've sold in the last couple of days with lifetime warranties, getting tired of carrying them up to put them on the rack,
This is the time of the year when it's hard. The cold weather is just brutal on batteries.
Now, I got to tell you a little story about when you're talking about your 210 and 211 on your truck there. Mm-hmm. I've got a 211 motorhome that actually is built on a 209 chassis, but it's all titled as 211 because it never got sold till 211. That was during the economy crunch. Now stop and think, trying to get parts. It's on a 209 chassis that they put together mostly in 210 and sold it as a 211.
Yeah.
So when you walk in the motorhome place, you go, I need this for my 211 motorhome. Here's my VIN number. And they're like, well, this should be the right rear end parts or this. And no, it's a 209,
51st and I Street for Kosiski Auto Parts. Team PRP. It's good quality stuff. You walk in and tell them what you need. You don't have to walk out there. And again, I'm going to say it again. This is the time of year when it's nice to not have to walk outside and deal with the cold. You can tell them what you need, and then you guys go and get the parts for me.
Well, it's a full service. You can call us on the phone. We can deliver it to you. You can look us up online under KosiskiAuto.com and actually buy your parts online. Get them ordered online. You can do it at midnight. You don't have to wait for a salesman to be there. Well,
another thing we wanted to talk to you about, I tell you what, you guys are just killing it for the schedule this year. I am thoroughly excited for the 2014 season at I-80 Speedway. Exit 420 on I-80 at the Greenwood exit. If you haven't been to I-80 Speedway yet, honestly, this is the year to do it. You guys have absolutely knocked it out of the park. Looks like your season's going to kick off on Friday, April 4th with the Spring Meltdown, but you're going to have an open practice on the 3rd to kind of work everything in. When you guys do those practices, are you guys also kind of working off a little bit of the rust from the off season?
Well, we're working off. We're hoping the drivers get to work off their rust. We're hoping the cars, have the parts that didn't quite get bolted all the way on, that it gets taken care of. And we're working off the part that, the tracks are always bad holy at the beginning of the year. The thaw's coming out. It gives us time to try to get them parts, that track hammered in, so it's good racing on Friday and Saturday.
So you got practice on Thursday, April 3rd for all classes, and then looks like the Spring Meltdown kicks off MLRA Super Late Models, ASCS Midwest Sprints, and unsanctioned Bs. And then on Saturday, you're going to have pretty much the same thing, MLRA Super Late Models, ASCS Sprints, and then unsanctioned A's.
A-mods, you bet. So, that's about as good a show as you can bring to anybody.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people, an A-mod is their top division. A lot of them, the sprint cars, the 360 Sprints is their top division. And then, of course, the Super Late Models is always everybody's top division if they've got them, and we're putting them all three together.
Bug Eater Bash the next weekend on Friday, April 11th. Unsanctioned A-mods and B-mods will be there, so those will be sanctioned, the B-mods?
No, A-mods, B-mods, Grand Nationals, Pro-Ams, and Hobby Stock. There's nobody that's sanctioned on that night.
Okay, so it's all, okay, I see.
It's all wide open. There's no sanctioning, there's no points, there's no nothing. It's come out, it'll be race for the money, and it's got a good purse for all those classes. They need to have good purses to race for, too.
Yeah. And it needs, and it's a 2-night event also, so you'll be there Friday, April 11th, Saturday, April 12th for the Bug Eater Bash. And then your guys' weekly series kicks off 2 weeks later on Friday for your NASCAR weekly racing. Super Late Models, A-mods, B-mods, Pro-Ams, Grand Nationals, Hornets. And looks like here it's the 30th anniversary for the Pro-Ams.
Yep, 30th year that the Pro-Ams have been racing. So
1,030 to win.
Yep, that's basically, if you're listening and you got an IMCA stock car. Pro-Ams and IMCA stock cars all run. We run them together. And 1 week a Pro-Am will win, and the next 3 weeks the stock car wins, and the next week the Pro-Am comes back and wins. So, I mean, it's a good competitive racing. $1,030 opening night. A lot of people are going to ask, do you have to have a NASCAR license? Because that is a NASCAR night. This year, NASCAR sells a temporary license that's good for 15 days.
Okay.
It's $25, so it'd be like an entry fee at $25. You buy the license that Friday, it's good for the 2 following Fridays. It's good for 15 straight days. So if we get 3 Fridays in, they can race it all 3 times for $25.
That's good. That's nice. NASCAR's doing that. Looks like you guys settle in for weekly racing for the next couple of weeks, and then is it the 4th annual Charlie Clark or 5th?
I believe this one is the 5th, isn't it?
Yeah,
I believe it's the 5th.
Yeah, that was some. I tell you what, I walked away from the Charlie Clark last year. Holy cow, was that some awesome racing you saw out there. That was fantastic, and that hung on to be my favorite race of the year for quite a while, until obviously the Silver Dollar Nationals. Unsanctioned A's, and then A-mods, Hobby Stocks, and Nebraska 360 Sprints will make the first appearance at I-80 Speedway for Sunday, May 25th.
Yep. The 360 Sprints are really, they're really a good class. Last year we had the SLMR series with them. There's some races going on. I took the SLMR series off, and then the first race we go to with the SLMR series ends up going to McCool Junction on Saturday the 24th, so I wished I wouldn't have taken them off. But I already did, and we're going to have 360s that night, so I'm thinking that it's going to be a great night of racing again. Then
it's the big one, and we're keeping our fingers crossed once again. SLS Promotions presents the World of Outlaws and an SLMR Series night. Friday, June 6th. When was the last time? I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say the word, but we haven't got to see the World of Outlaws the last 3 times they've been scheduled in this area.
Yeah, it's been quite a while, and we're gonna have them this year. They're gonna make it. It's not gonna rain. It's not gonna have weather conditions. It's gonna be absolutely the most perfect night. I just keep saying to myself, it's going to be. Listen, and that is going to be a great night with the World Outlaws.
No one's
and
eating
SLMR.
Chicken that week. Yeah. We're not eating chicken the entire week. No one's using. I'm not a superstitious guy, but I'm about tired of this stuff. I want to see some World Outlaws.
Yeah. 410s out there. Wow, with the wings on them, that's amazing. I mean, you'll see some laps. Probably, I'm going to guess in the high 13-second laps.
Yeah.
You know, that's amazing on that big of a racetrack.
That'll be awesome. Friday, June 6th. And are tickets for those available already, or are we still waiting to get those?
I believe they're available on the SLS website. You have to go to SLS Promotions because they do a lot of the World Outlaw races in the area.
Yep, and they handle all that for you guys. The
track is actually rented to them. All we're doing, we take care of getting it watered the first time. Mm-hmm. They actually finish the watering, and then they run the whole race series.
They bring their own safety crews. Do you guys officiate that too? Do you rent out your safety crews to them?
I've never been able to get a race in with them yet.
That's true.
You know, they take care of it with either our safety crew, and they take care of them or whatever they do. But yeah, they run the whole thing. We don't have nothing to do with it. We just sit back and get to watch a race that night.
Next on your list, Friday, June 27th, the Alphabet Soup. This is a big one, and I'm going to have trouble with all these letters. MLRA, CBC, MARS, Super Late Models, non-sanctioned Pro-Ams, Stock Cars, Hornets, and Nebraska 360s. For me, what MLRA?
Midwest Late Model Racing Association.
CBC.
Corn Belt Clash.
Okay, and then
Mars is boy. Now you got me. Midwest Auto Racing Series.
Okay, so all three of those are those all three sanctioning bodies?
Them are all three sanctioning bodies from different places around the area. Okay. Mars is usually sanctions more in the southern Missouri, northern Arkansas. They get up to about Kansas City, about as far north as they go, but they do come up for a swing up our area. MLRA, they're big in our area. And then down through Missouri, of course, Lucas Oil owns MLRA, so Lucas Oil being behind it, you know what happens there.
Yep.
And then Corn Belt Clash is run out of the eastern Iowa area, and Cam up there runs it, and he brings another handful of great late model racers. The Simpson brothers and Eckridges and them guys come over from that area.
So all three of these series, sanctioning bodies, all the drivers race together in one full race, or do you do 3 different races?
Nope, it's one big race.
Okay.
It's one big race. They all get ready to clash together in order to see who comes out the top.
And then the big boy. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the 3-day special, the Silver Dollar Nationals. $30,000 to win this year?
Yep, $30,000 to win.
Super late models on Thursday, Nebraska 360s, B-Mods, then Silver Dollar National practice that night. And then Friday, you've got the Lucas Oil MLRA super late models and USMTS KC Cup modifieds. Hopefully we'll see Kenny Schrader back for that again this year. And then Sunday is the big dog. That's the day that everyone waits for. Saturday. My mistake. Lucas Oil, MLRA, super late models, and USMTS again. So, I think Gustin's got it this year. I mean,
which one's he going to have? USMTS, or is he going to have the Lucas Oil? I mean, but
I'm increasing my odds any way I can. I'm just saying either one of them.
Hey, them tickets are on sale, and I can't really. I mean, I really believe they are selling faster than we've done any of the first 3 years. But I think Ryan Gustin was a big part of that, because a guy to come from 34th, people say, they don't pass, they don't do this, they don't do that in them big races. He started 34th. He was leading the race with 25 laps to go.
It wasn't just him. There was a lot of passing that night. There was, if I'm thinking right, about 5-6 different leaders.
I believe you're right. I believe, and if they wasn't leading, it was like Brian Burkhofer was going into second when he got put in the front stretch wall, and Jared Landers was up there the top 2 or 3 that he got. I mean, the crowd, there was so much emotion in that crowd. It was just, it gives me goosebumps that you're talking about it.
You're the announcer Lane. Is that who his name is? The announcer for it? I can't remember who the Lucas Oil late model announcer was, but he was doing a fantastic job calling that race. The guy we listened to down at Lakeside. Yep. Awesome job. They did a great job keeping the crowd in. So yeah, I have a lot of work to do.
I'll tell you what, that race is so exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just sitting here getting excited just to go. I want to go to that one, the worst of all of them. And how could you not want to go to the 410s watching the World Outlaws?
I went to lunch a couple days ago with a friend of mine, and I was telling her about the I-80 Speedway. I said, you're coming with me to I-80 this year. I'm going to get you into your first dirt track race. And I'm telling her, the 360s. And I was just, will you calm down? I'm like, I can't. I'm just so ready. And it's January. And then
now this is coming from a guy that, now I got to remember, 2 years ago when I first talked to you, you only knew this thing called asphalt racing in NASCAR, and you says, how can anybody get excited about dirt racing? And all of a sudden, I see this thrill of dirt racing that NASCAR and I don't want to say NASCAR so much, but the asphalt racing kind of sets back. It's not near as much fun.
I will completely agree with you. I do. It's a lot more fun to go out to these local dirt tracks because it's cheaper, it's closer. And it's personal. It's so much fun.
You can feel the dust and feel the excitement right in your fingertips. Yeah.
You know, if we got time, we'll make time. Don't worry about it. I was just reading a story that the NFL is having problems selling playoff games. Mm-hmm. And there's a big story on ESPN, and all these people are doing these stories about how high-definition TV and the TV broadcasts are really starting to take effect in ticket sales. And it brings me back to the point once again that I think auto racing is the only sport that is high-definition proof that you get a better experience at the track than you do watching it on TV.
Well, you know, when your teeth get to vibrate a little bit when the motors are running, it does make it a little bit better.
Oh, it's absolutely, and you hear that feel of it going by just sends chills when they go rushing by that first time. Then I don't know if you want to call this the new big boy just because of the payout, but the Midwest Fall Brawl, that's really starting to take on legs of its own.
I got to go back and brag a little bit. August 8th, we have the weekend off. That's the only weekend we're taking off. And people have asked me, what are you taking that off for? My dad was a great dirt track racer, and he was on the Legends last year. Yep. And he gets inducted into the National Dirt Track Hall of Fame that weekend.
I didn't know that.
Over in Kentucky. And that's why we're taking that weekend off, because me and my brother both decided we're going with my dad, and there's going to be nobody there to run the racetrack. And I says, we're just going to stay closed that night because we're going to go watch Dad get inducted. And he said the same thing. He says, I don't really care who's going to run the racetrack, but it ain't going to be me. And he says, I'm not going to water it. So...
So, is he going to be able to make it too, to go down there for the ceremony?
All of us. My dad is going to be getting inducted. Me and Steve are both going down, and me and Steve are both have already been inducted in the National Dirt Track Hall of Fame. So that's three of us in one family that's getting inducted in the Dirt Track National Hall of Fame. And I mean,
we're going to be talking to your dad again in just a couple of weeks for the walk down Sunset Lane.
Well, there you go. You can bring it up to him.
I'll make sure to talk to him about it. The Midwest Fall Brawl is the next show. You have Friday, September 19th, Saturday, September 20th. You guys have upped the ante one more time. $50,000 if a certain driver can go Friday night to Victory Lane and Saturday night to Victory Lane in the ASCS cars, in the 360s.
I'll tell you what, them are both National Series shows, so it'll bring the best from everywhere. I wouldn't doubt some of the World Outlaw guys miss a World Outlaw race to come for the chance. Not only are they racing for $50,000 if they win 2 nights in a row. Now, you remember last year Jack Dover won $25,000 winning 2 nights in a row, so it's not impossible. But any of them guys can come. I mean, you'll see Shane Stewart, and you'll see, there's going to Jason Johnson. It's going to be a great race night, competing against the Jack Dover that I know can get around that racetrack like you can't believe. Yeah. But the insurance policy went up also because Jack won in it last year, so we buy an insurance policy on that somebody can't do 2 of them in a row. Mm-hmm. The insurance company, of course, they said nobody could do 2 in a row, so they insured it. You know what happened from there?
Well, they can cut that check 2 years in a row then.
If that's what it takes. I'll tell you what, the excitement that's going through for that race is just amazing. We work it a lot with Knoxville, with their museum and their their hall over there. I believe heavily in these halls because they have to go. Some of these guys have to be remembered, and that's why we stay with you on the Legends of Dirt.
We appreciate it, too. So the Midwest Fall Brawl, Friday and Saturday, September 19th and 20th, and then you guys wrap the season up with the Cornhusker Classic. October 9th is practice, 10th, 11th, and 12th is the final races of the season.
Yes, they are, and Cornhusker is always a good one.
Is that the night you guys wrap up your weekly series, or is that...
No, our weekly series is wrapped up on Sunday, August 31st on All-Star Championship Sunday, and that's the final night of the NASCAR Weekly Points Night, and the Nebraska 360 Sprints are racing with us that night also. So that'll be another real good night of racing, and... You know, we always have a banquet here. We got a banquet coming up in just a couple of weeks, you know, so I'd like to say if anybody hasn't got their banquet tickets or would like to go, it's not just open to drivers, it's open to the public, and, you know, they can come out and go to the banquet, and tickets are on sale back at the I-80 office. They can give them a call and just order the tickets over the phone and go to it. And, you know, we do a lot of fun there. We have.
I was looking at some of the pictures on your guys' Facebook page, and as I'm reading the description to it, I realized it said awards and shenanigans to follow.
Oh yeah, the shenanigans is great.
What was it one year you did an Oreo balancing contest on the forehead?
We've done some different things. Yeah. My daughter comes up with all of them. She finds them someplace, and she always comes up with something. And, you know, we'll take 5 or 6 of the drivers out of each class, and they go up there and they kind of compete against each other, and it's just all in fun, and they have a great time.
It'll be. I cannot wait for the 2014 schedule for I-80 Speedway. It can't get here fast enough, and unfortunately, it's going to go by way too fast. That's the way it always works. We'll be complaining on Monday, October 13th, that the racing's over with and we got nothing to do.
I know. You know, every year we complain all year long. Man, I wish this season would get over. About the time the Silver Dollar Nationals gets over, you kind of start fading, and you're going, I can't keep up no more.
Yeah.
I need this thing to get over. And all of a sudden, October 15th hits, and you're like, dang, did it really get over already?
I'm ready to go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking with Joe Kosiski, promoter and owner of I-80 Speedway. We're going to take a break, come back, continue talking to Joe. We got a walk down Sunset Lane to talk about. We got lots more stuff to talk about with Joe Kosiski. And Kenny Schrader still to come in turns 3 and 4. We'll be back here on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs.
This is Andrew from Kosiski Auto Parts. Kosiski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kosiski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kosiski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kosiski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
We're working the High Line into Turn 2 on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to it, folks. You're on the Front Stretch here on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio. The Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Gift certificates and special events, everything. Get them online at joeskarting.com. Really, even though the Christmas season is over with, you could never get a better gift for a racer or a race fan than a gift certificate to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Talking with Joe Kosiski, a man who raced at Sunset Speedway. Did you win a couple of times there? I've heard you found Victory Lane a time or two.
That was like a home away from home there. I mean, it was. I had a lot of good years at that area. That racetrack.
That's one of my regrets, that I wish I hadn't have been so sheltered growing up. And even in my teenage years and young adult, that I never, got to watch you race, and I never went and saw a race at Little Sunset. I always heard about it. Living at home, always heard about the Sunset Speedway that people always talked about, and some of my friends were dirt track drivers, and they talked about it too, about going out and racing there and how they had such a great time, and I've never got to see it. And I want to ask you one of these times, I've heard you could still go out there and drive around.
No, not really. They tore down the old Sunset Inn here a month or two ago, so it's all gone, and it's fenced off where you really can't go around the track, and it's you can kind of see it still in the ground, I guess you could say, unless they've done something since they tore the building down, but it's just not the same as what it was when it was actually standing and racing.
Yeah. It was a glorious time, and we're going to celebrate that time coming up in a couple of weeks. It's actually 10 days from now, exactly 10 days from today, we're going to do the recording at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs, another fine sponsor of this program, and the official watering hole of the Front Stretch. I guarantee you there will be a lube tube or two consumed that night at Quaker Steak and Lube. Chris and all the guys were gracious enough to let us come down. What we're going to do, in case you haven't heard us talking about it, which I can't believe you haven't, we're going to go down there at 6 o'clock on Wednesday night. We're going to set up all the equipment, and we're going to record all this stuff, and it's going to be a 2-hour recording because we're going to play it the following 2 Sundays as a part of a full hour special, a walk down Sunset Lane. The first one is going to be based on the early years, which we're going to talk to your dad, Dave Chase, Bill Rick, and Glenn Roby, and I think Lee's going to jump on the microphone and talk to us a little bit about some of the stories. And then hour number 2, we're going to have you and your brother Steve come on, and we're going to have I think John Kenny is going to come on, John Kenny Jr. I keep hearing that this guy's quite the character, and so we got to hear some of the stories from him. Then we're going to have Stan Caesar come on and just kind of he's going to help Craig Kelly and I kind of moderate the entire thing and just kind of tell stories. And basically, like when Lee and I were talking about this, and Lee said, "What do you want to get out of this?" And I said, "I want a bunch of racers to sit around a table, drinking beer and telling stories about the good old days back at Sunset Speedway. And then I want to put a microphone in the middle of it and just capture it all." And Lee said, we're going to do it. So, and you guys were gracious enough to fund it so we could do it. And it's going to be a fantastic time. I'm so excited to hear this.
I've heard people talk about they want to do a book and things like that. And, I respect all of them that want to do that stuff. And I know it's high priced, but I hope any of those people that want to do a book at least come to this radio show and listen to it, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It looks like it's going to be an awesome time. I mean, you never can't tell. Hopefully the weather holds out and we've got a nice night to where it doesn't restrain anybody from coming out. But so far, the Facebook page has about 90-some people coming. So it should be a packed house. And I was talking with Chris over at Quaker Steak and Lube about it, and we've got backup plans. Right now, we're going to be in the Brickyard, the same place we did the round table in, but that's not going to fit that many people. So if we need to, he said, you know what, it's a Wednesday night. We're really not that busy on Wednesday nights. If we need to move you guys into Thunder Alley, over to your own area by the bar, we'll accommodate you however we can. So Can he put the speaker system on the microphone so everybody could hear it if they didn't get into the exact room at the time? I'm going up and setting the equipment up tomorrow, doing a test run to make sure everything works, and then getting rid of that screeching, that feedback, so people can actually hear it. And then we're trying to run it through the entire building. So we're trying to work it all out. It's just trying to get my equipment to work with his equipment to work with, blah, blah, blah. So that'll be a good time. I wanted to I was telling stories and talking with a friend of mine on Facebook, Allison Walter, who is I'm going to get this wrong, but I believe she's the granddaughter of Dave Chase. And she's telling me stories about the shenanigans, a good way to put it, that the old Kosiski boys and my grandpa Dave Chase used to play on each other. Apparently, okay, it's the whole you don't eat chicken on race day, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
They never bought into that. So they always said that they would eat all the chicken and take all the bones and throw them underneath your hauler.
The Zeitners, they done that a million times. There was a lot of them done that. All the time I would have people. I'd come back one day, I didn't know what I was going to do because I walked into Sunset and I'm sitting there and I went to climb in my car and there was chicken bones laying in the seat. And I looked down and I go, what am I going to do? How are we going to get these out of here? We got to get them out of the pit area. No, got to get them out of the pit area. I mean, it was like devastating. So I told one of the pit guys, I says, hey, would you do me a favor? He says, what's that? I says, would you not work on the car tonight? Just take the chicken bones out, go back up and sit in the grandstands.
Because then he can't touch it.
Yeah, what am I going to do?
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I had great pit guys. They would go home if they had to in order for us to win. So
it's all dedication. You got to, so that's the kind of stories you're going to hear. We're encouraging people to bring down any memorabilia you can. Glenn Roby is going to bring a scrapbook of his entire career. Everything that his mom kept, everything that his wife kept, everything that he's kept, he's going to bring it down. Luke Cochran of Home Pride Companies, who is the Outlaw, he got his nickname racing there at Sunset Speedway. He's going to be bringing a couple of different things with him that he's going to be able to tell some good stories with. I know Stan Caesar's bringing some stuff. You guys are going to bring some stuff to just tell stories and have a good time, and people will be able to look at all this stuff and laugh along with us. Mm-hmm. So Wednesday, January 22nd, it's 10 days away. Get there at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Get your seat, get set up and ready to go. It's a very nonchalant thing. We may get started recording at 6:30, whenever, but we're going to start recording when we're ready to get going, and we're just going to tell stories and have a great time.
Very good.
And again, thank you very much for sponsoring it and helping us do that. I do appreciate it. Anything else we need to cover?
I don't know. I just hope everybody covers the grandstand seats all summer long at I-80 Speedway. Listen, but if they can't make it to there, they still need to support their own local track to help keep the racers having that racetrack, keeping the racers in. I firmly believe I don't want to be the only racetrack around going, because the people will quit coming. I mean, they stop going to their local favorite track. Keep going to your local favorite track. Just pick up when you can and go to another one and visit a couple a year.
Exactly. And to make sure that we don't do this in 10 or 15 years, a walk down I-80 Speedway we got to keep the track going. And whether, whatever excuses you can come up with, the only way you can keep these tracks going is to patronize them, to walk in, give them a little money at the tickets. And frankly, the racing I've seen there ever since I've started going, the whole 2 years I've been there, has been fantastic. There's been a couple of races where the drivers kept everything clean and it was green, white, checkered and everything was fine. But for the most part, I've walked away from that track, and I've sat with you, and one night you're sitting here just exhausted. You had been working for 4 days straight, and you went, God, wasn't that some great racing? I said, oh, Joe, that was awesome.
Like it picks you back up. You get a big smile back on your face. You can't only move, but yeah, it's worth it. That's the Silver Dollar Nationals. We work 4 or 5 days out in that sun, and it's in the middle of July there.
Yeah.
It gets really hot during the day, and we're out there working and running the loaders and parking people because, they start coming in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday for a Friday, Saturday race, you got people coming in the campgrounds and, just getting ready because they want to be there to have fun. And we're out there working with them, trying to make sure everything's the best we can do. And you're so exhausted when Friday night hits to go to that race. You're like, and then Saturday night hits, and it's like, is this ever going to get over?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when it's over, it's like, boy, can we have a little bit more of that?
i-80speedway.com for a full list of races that are coming up this year. And then tickets are available. You can click on links and go get tickets or just pick them up at the gate. Joe, thanks so much for coming in. Can't wait to talk to you again in 10 days. We're going to talk to you for the walk down Sunset Lane.
Dan, thanks for having me.
Kenny Schrader is coming up next for the Legends of the Dirt series presented by Kosiski Auto Parts, online at KosiskiAutoParts.com at 51st and I Street. We'll be right back, folks.
It's back again this year. Make memories at Quaker Steak & Lube on Monday, December 16th, and have dinner with Santa. Mr. and Mrs. Claus love the lube, and your family will too, with free photos with Santa. And the kids could win one of 3 Razor scooters we're giving away. Don't forget, stock up on the lube gift cards, the perfect stocking stuffer. Dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Claus, Monday, December 16th from 5 until 8 p.m. And don't forget, kids eat free with an adult purchase. Quaker Steak & Lube, next to the Mid-America Center, Council Bluffs.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into Turn 3 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
Heading into Turn 3, brought to you by Kosiski Auto Parts, online at KosiskiAutoParts.com and at 71st and I Street in Omaha, 731-4592. We're continuing our Legends of the Dirt series with a man who has raced just about everything underneath the sun. We're talking to Kenny Schrader. How you doing tonight, Kenny?
I'm doing good, just down at the shop working.
Yeah? Never taking a break, are you?
Well, I don't want to, man. It's kind of a fun job. I don't want to not do it.
Do you consider it a job? Do you consider it a job, or is it more just like kind of having fun collecting a check?
Oh, it's full-time play.
Yeah.
It's full-time play. I love it. I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Well, let's talk about how you got started in that full-time play. You're a second-generation racer. Was it your dad, Bill, that got you interested into racing, or was it somebody before that?
No, it was my dad. That's all I ever watched him do was race. I'd sit up in the grandstands and watch him go around in circles, and I just couldn't wait till I got old enough to run, and then he actually quit for some health reasons several years before I turned 16. But when I was 15, we started building a car, and as soon as I was 16, we started racing.
Yeah, that was around about 70, 71?
71 we started.
And you started out at Lake Hill Speedway in near your home in Missouri. You raced the number 100 car. Was that kind of to carry on your dad's tradition, or was there another reason behind that number?
No, Dad was always number 100, and I just, heck, he drove the car a couple weeks before I did, before I was 16, so that's the number it was, and we ran 100 for probably 4 or 5 years, and then I realized that I was giving up potential sponsor room with those 3 digits, so we didn't give much, we didn't care much what number it was after that.
Well, that kind of answers my next question. Is there a number that you're kind of partial to? Some drivers like to stick to one number. Is there a number you're partial to?
I could care less what numbers are on that car.
As long as you're the first to cross the start-finish line, right?
As long as it runs pretty good. I really don't really have any preference at all about what numbers are on it.
You got your start at Lake Hill Speedway, as I talked about, and there's a couple of notables that raced with you, and I believe they raced with you, the Wallace boys, Rusty and Mike. Did you race against them, or were they after you?
Well, Rusty started the year after I did, so we raced together some, and then Mike started several years later, and Mike and I didn't race against each other a bunch until later, but then we did race against each other quite a bit.
Did you guys share some good stories when you were sitting in the NASCAR pits about Lake Hill Speedway?
Well, we just had a lot of racers really that came out of Missouri that wound up in Cup, and that was with the three Wallace boys and ourselves and Jamie McMurray and Carl Edwards. So for kind of being right there, a bunch of us wound up down there.
Hey, Kenny, this is Lee Ackerman. Did you ever work closely with Larry Phillips? I know Rusty did.
No, I did some stuff with Larry. I never really, when I got going, he was running on the pavement, and then I started running on the dirt, and we raced together some, but I never worked with him, had the kind of relationship that Rusty did. Now, later on, I went motorcycle riding with him quite a bit. We'd go out in Arizona in January and stuff when we were out there with the dirt car, or we were out there with our dirt car, and Terry was out there, and Larry just come out and play with us. But I never had that kind of relationship with him that Rusty did.
That begs the question: Did you ever race motorcycles?
Yeah, Rusty and I used to race motorcycles together. We'd run them on Sunday afternoons, and then go run our dirt cars on Sunday nights at Lake Hill. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
Who was actually the better one of the two?
Rusty was faster for sure on the motorcycle, but he fell down more. And, when he was falling down, I'd usually pass him.
I could just see Kenny's face looking back at Rusty as he's laying horizontal on the ground.
Yeah,
that's a horrible machine to be racing and not be able to keep it up straight.
No, but he absolutely had no fear, and I was a little more careful because I wanted to race my stock car that night. I didn't really want to be going to the hospital. I wanted to race my dirt car. We're
talking with Kenny Schrader, this week's Legend of the Dirt Series, brought to you by Kosiski Auto Parts. You quickly moved into sprint cars, and as I'm kind of reading through your history, there doesn't seem to be any kind of I raced this model, and then this model, and then this model, and a periodic on down the line. It seemed to be you kind of jumped around a lot.
Well, I just I was running my stock car, and a guy let me hot lap his midget one night at intermission, and made half a dozen laps in it. It steered a lot quicker and stuff, but hell, I could see the front tires. It wasn't going to turn it too much, and we didn't do too bad in half a dozen laps, so he let me run it in the feature that night. We had to start in the back because it wasn't qualified, and he had qualified the car. And we start in the back, we run fifth, and the next week we run second, and boy, all of a sudden I was a midget racer too. So we started running that quite a bit, and then phone rang, and I started running someone's sprint car, and then we got the opportunity to run a Silver Crown car. Everything just kind of happened, like, real quick.
Was it just because you didn't lock yourself into one thing per year, was that just simply somebody come and say, hey, come race my car, and heck, yeah, I'll come race it? Well,
I had people. I drove like a midget for Gene Hamilton. I drove a sprint car for Ray Marlar, who's my partner at Federated Raceway there in Peabody, Missouri. I drove stock car for Don Hank Siva King from St. Louis. So we weren't just jumping around all the time. I just was able to kind of put the schedules together to keep everybody fairly busy and me real busy.
You seem to have a lot of success in sprint cars, and nowadays, you raced your modified, and you came out and you raced a part of the USMTS. Any thoughts of racing sprint cars still, or do you, just not as predominantly?
I had not ran one since 1984, and last year I wound up driving one for Smiley down Texas, and really wasn't looking forward to it or planning on it, and it just kind of happened because I was down there with the modified, and we ran it, and we run eighth or something. It's like, Okay, I think I can skip that for another 30 years and everything would be just fine.
Was that one of his Race Saver 305s?
Yes, it was.
What'd you think of that?
It was a good car.
You like it?
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
We just up here just got Race Saver 305s this year, and a lot of skeptics were talking about them, and they seem to be kind of taking hold. There's a lot of tracks up here that are going to be picking them up now, and it was Smiley that was a big part of that, talking with one of the track owners up here, Roger Hayden, about getting them. But you like them 305s?
Yeah, it had plenty of engine. Obviously it's nothing like a 410, but it was a lot of fun to drive. Like what Smiley told me, I said, "What's that 305 like?" He said, "Let me tell you what. The last thing you'll be thinking when you get to the turn is, boy, I wish I was going faster." And he was right.
Do you have, with everything that you've raced and everywhere you've raced, you've won USACs, you've won Midget, you've raced ARC, you've raced K&N, is there a driver out there, and you don't necessarily have to name them if you don't want to, but do you have somebody you would consider an adversary, someone that you just constantly were trying to battle for the lead or battle position for?
No, because we never ran the same place enough to be in a situation like that. We were always all over the place racing, so we didn't have anybody that we'd call it was a constant adversary that we were always racing with.
Talking with Kenny Schrader as a part of our Legends of the Dirt series. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap it up here on the Front Stretch.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into Turn 4 on the Front Stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Just about ready to wrap this baby up. Heading into Turn 4, brought to you by Kosiski Auto Parts. Online at KosiskiAutoparts.com. Quality used parts at an affordable price. 731-4592. Maybe you caught some of that snow over the last couple of weeks. Maybe your car slid into another car, and you just simply got to replace a part that if you go to one of the big stores, you're just going to end up paying easily 3 figures and maybe even more for some of these parts. So you can call everybody down at Kosiski Auto Parts. They're going to get you a fully warranted, quality used part that fits your car like a glove. They're going to go and get it off the lot for you, bring it out to you, and you're going to be able to install it and save yourself a lot of dough.
And if anything, Joe Kosiski's going to love having you come down because then Andrew Kosiski's got to do some work.
Yeah, we got to get that guy working more. I caught him sleeping the other day.
Oh, it's
bad. Off season in dirt track, he loses all momentum, and no pun intended. But we're continuing our Legends of the Dirt series. We're talking with Kenny Schrader, a man who I think we talked about earlier in the last turn. Kenny, you've raced just about everything underneath the sun. Is there your favorite you would say you've got?
Oh, no. I don't think so. I enjoy the modified a bunch. I used to enjoy the late model a lot. The midgets were a lot of fun. The wing sprint cars, the sprint cars without the wing. The cup cars, the trucks. I mean, as long as you're getting a race, it just didn't make much difference what you were racing.
You got to be I think you got to be a lot crazy to race them sprint cars with no wing. Am I wrong?
Oh, not really. After a while, you get used to turning over. It's no big deal. First time it seemed like a big deal, but, I haven't, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't been upside down that much, maybe only, 4 dozen times or so.
Well, that's it. Get back in them cars then.
Yeah, you get used to it after a while.
We'll put you through the spin cycle one of these days.
Yeah, I've been there.
Do you have yourself a favorite win, one that you're going to take with you down memory lane and just say, man, I'm so glad I got that win and that was such a special one for me?
No, I mean, yeah, hopefully this year somewhere. But no, not really. I mean, they're all neat. They're all important. But guess what? When you leave there, it just doesn't make any difference. You go into the next race, and what you did that night doesn't count. So you got to start all over.
Kenny, Buddy Ray here. I've been asking a lot of the legends of the dirt here on this segment. The state of racing as a whole. You have a lot of dirt racing behind you. When you go across country and you see dirt racing, even from back in the 70s and 80s, do you think today's state of dirt racing is healthy, or is there room to grow?
Oh, I think there's always room to grow, but I think the dirt racing has weathered the storm better than some of the other forms of racing. You know, I've been to some big late model shows and some big modified shows this year. I didn't get to go to a lot of them for a lot of years because we always had a real job with the Cup car, and those weekends, just didn't have many off weekends. So, I've really been impressed with some of those races this year. The Kosiskis with the Silver Dollar Nationals out there in July at I-80. Wow. When you bring Lucas Oil late miles together along with USMTS, and the crowd comes out and supports it like they did. That was phenomenal. I was glad to be part of that. But I think we got room to grow, but it's fairly healthy overall.
Do you see a certain I guess I want to say maybe a trend that is that kind of maybe scares you a little bit? Obviously money has always been an issue, and it just keeps getting more and more to put these cars on the track. I was talking to a late model guy the other day, and he was saying just to put a brand new turnkey late model on the track, you're talking probably $50,000, maybe $60,000, about a mid-range. Is there something you think that late models could do to try to bring this cost down?
Well, if he's spending 50 or 60 on a late model, he's putting a pretty cheap one out there compared to what you're not going to that Lucas Oil show geared up with 50 in your car.
No.
You better have more than that. You better have 50 in a USMTS car for sure. But it's always been like that. It's just there's more zeros now. But it's always money's always been a big factor. And I say we, as the competitors, have done that to ourselves by, trying to beat the other guys.
Yep.
We get something trickier, and then we all get it, and all of a sudden we all just spent another $10,000, and we're all going 0.2 of a second quicker, but it didn't make any difference because we're all going 0.2 of a second quicker.
You're just lighter. The pocket's a little lighter.
Yeah.
And the credit's a little more red.
Right.
Pockets being lighter is what got us to 0.2 of a second.
Yeah.
Kenny, you get to go around and race all these different tracks, and I can tell you have a lot of fun with it. But is there a driver that you've kept your eye on? Maybe this year you saw him or her over the last couple of years that you think's really ready to make that next move up into NASCAR?
Well, it's not like everybody wants to go in the NASCAR. There's some good drivers everywhere. Tyler Reddick won a K&N race for us this 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Did a phenomenal job at Rockingham. Kyle Benjamin's run so good this year. There's so many of them out there. We've got a young man, Matt Tiff, going to drive for us this upcoming season that we've been real impressed watching him. Ryan Gustin, the performance he put on at the Silver Dollar Nationals was amazing. To start in the back of the Lucas Oil race and storm through those guys like he did, I've hardly ever seen any enthusiasm like that. Unfortunately, all that enthusiasm is what got him to run over the first lap car he got to. Also, but when he gets that figured out, which he will because he's proven time and time again that he's a winner, he's going to really be good. Everyone's going to know how good he is. So there's a lot of them out there, and it always has been.
We're talking with Kenny Schrader, who has had himself over 750 NASCAR Cup starts, 116 nationwide starts, 99 Camping World Truck Series starts, and that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of his dirt series, his dirt starts. Kenny, was there somebody that you looked up to when you were getting started back in 71 at Lake Hill Speedway? Was there somebody that was legendary in your mind?
Well, just all the guys at your local tracks. Around there, heck, I just knew what was going on in St. Louis. And Don Klein, I mean, he won tons of races around there. And a few years later, it was Mike Hammerly and Ed Dixon, and man, there was just so many guys. But it's just, those are local heroes everywhere, and we just that's why I enjoy going to other places, because you get to meet these people and race with these people that you've read about for years, and they're all they all deserve hero status.
Just a few more questions left for you before we wrap it up for today's interview. Kenny, what's been the hardest car for you to drive personally?
Oh, I don't know if I've got a hardest one. I don't know if I've done good enough in any of them, but like I said, I haven't had to get a job yet, so we've been able to milk this thing for a long time. So I don't know I guess the Cup car. I would say the Cup car is the hardest. It weighs the most. It goes the fastest. It has the narrowest tires, and it's got guys that have proven themselves over and over to be the best drivers.
I was kind of wondering if that was it, or if maybe it was one of the wingless sprint cars. Those things are kind of finicky.
Well, listen, when you sit down in any of them, dirt, open wheel, Cup car, truck, it just doesn't make any difference. You're strapped in, you got a steering wheel, 2 pedals that do anything. So you got to do the same stuff everywhere. You just try to go around in a circle faster than everybody else. It's not as simple as it sounds, but I mean, it's what we're trying to do is simple.
Yep.
So I mean, you got the same challenges no matter what you're driving.
Kenny, Dan and I have talked about this here on the Front Stretch. It seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you go into the Camping World Truck Series or you go into the Nationwide Series, it seems like those drivers are a lot more antsier, and they seem like, they get up on the wheel. The competitive, not the competitiveness, but the competition is a lot stricter, a lot harder, and they're really a lot more brazen in those series. Would you consider that to be a true statement?
When you're in the Nationwide or truck?
When you're in the Nationwide and truck, they just go after a lot harder than what they do in Cup.
No, not at all. That's like racing with the high school kids. Nationwide and truck is much simpler. I'm just telling you, it's much simpler. But we're racing for 500 miles. They're racing for 200 most of the time. You got to race different. But when it's time to go, believe me, you want to be racing against those guys and not the Cup guys. You see how many, just look at the Nationwide statistics and see how many Cup drivers win those races and the percentage of Cup drivers that's in them. Now you take Sam Harnish, that's almost competed for the championship this year. I mean he did. He competed for a championship, came up a couple points shy of winning it. Mm-hmm. Did a phenomenal job. But his team car that was driven by Cup guys most of the time won like 7 races.
And you see that
truck is high school, the Nationwide Series is college, and you're racing against Pro Ball and Cup. I'm just telling you, that's the way it is. You can ask any of them guys.
Well, we appreciate you telling us just how you feel. It's always a little dicey when you're talking about that stuff, but Kenny, we appreciate your honesty on that one. We've taken enough of your time. We do appreciate your time so much. Have a great holiday season, and we can't wait to talk to you again in 2014. Hopefully we'll see you in July at the Silver Dollar Nationals 4.
Well, we're sure looking forward to it, and you guys are very fortunate around there to have a facility like that right there. And I've been over to Eagle before, and I haven't got to take my own car to Eagle. I really want to do that because, man, you got a couple beautiful tracks that run good shows right there in your backyard.
Well, we have a great time doing it, and Bud's one of these BMOD drivers that helps us put on a show every week. So, Kenny, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate your time as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series. Have a great time, man.
All right, thank you.
Take care, Kenny.
All right, bye. I think that's probably one of my top interviews. Kenny was fun and honest. Did that surprise you, his answer?
Yeah, well, look, to me, when I watch the truck series or the Nationwide series, a lot of times I don't discredit that he says when you go Cup racing, that's the pro baller. I understand that, but I also see a lot more risk being involved with guys who are going 3, 4, 5 wide in the truck and Nationwide series.
But I think part of that is you've got drivers that don't have the experience in those series.
No, but when you don't have, it's just like, to me, I liken truck in nationwide to college football. In college football, they're wanting to prove themselves. They're going to throw caution to the wind. Yeah. They're going to do hits. But then a lot of times, and this is my personal opinion, when they go NFL, it's not about the game. It's about how much money they can make. And while it's not necessarily quite that bad in Cup, they know that once they've gotten to Cup, just like in NFL, they got to prove themselves to stay on contract with said team. But when you're in nationwide and truck series, they're not scared to go 3, 4, 5 wide. They want to be the guy that's running up front.
Well, again, though, he said something that it's a totally different ball game when you have 6 or 7 pit stops to make a correction and versus the trucks. And obviously my son's spent a lot of time in the truck series. You get one shot at it sometimes.
Yeah.
So you got to drive differently.
A lot of times they've only got 2 or 3 pit stops to make changes.
Sometimes only one. And in the race that Tom won, they won 250 laps and did not make a pit stop. So
was that at Iowa Speedway?
No, that was at Mansfield, Ohio.
Because his truck, he's the engineer for Brad Keselowski Racing, right?
Yeah, he does now, but that was with Spears when they ran it. 250-lap race and didn't make a pit stop. Maybe everybody thought they were crazy.
I didn't even get through half my questions for Kenny.
You know what, though? What was ironic, I don't know if you guys caught this. He said that the Cup car had the narrowest tire.
I didn't realize that.
There's no way that's possible because the USMTS mod tire is way narrower. It's only an 8-inch wide tire.
I wonder if he's talking about NASCAR driving, like
that's what I was wondering. Yeah,
nationwide and Cup.
That might be because I got a Jeff Gordon tire that Tom got years. It was off his first win, and when he was working at the driving school, and I guarantee it's wider than a USMTS modified tire.
Yeah.
Do you suppose he's talking rear tire? I mean, obviously not talking front tires.
I'm thinking he's...
Those tires are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
The rear tires?
The tires for a Cup car.
Yeah.
Yep.
There might be a...
They're not like a dirt tire.
Front tires and rear tires are pretty much the same width, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like a sprint car. We got this big monster on the right rear and
you got 6
little
feet
tire
on the back
front that never touches the ground.
Good interview. I like talking to Kenny. He's a really nice guy.
You just heard Kenny Schrader the way you're going to hear him anytime.
You know what's impressive about Kenny Schrader is no matter, and I've met the guy I don't know how many times.
He learned how to go west.
Yeah, you should have asked him if he had a Nebraska map.
I
did give him a Nebraska. He got 2 of them. I give them to him.
But he always.
I get a call from him at 7:00 in the morning on the track phone looking for Dan because he went to Beaver Crossing instead of Council Bluffs.
Yeah, but the one thing about Kenny Schrader is he always. I don't care. You could probably destroy his car, and he'll still look at you and go, you know, sir. He is the most polite, respectful driver.
He's a good old boy. Yeah. And he's fun to talk to. He's nice. He's polite, and he's helpful. He's a really nice guy, and I've had a lot of fun talking to him in the last 6 months since we got to meet him at the Silver Dollar Nationals. And by the way, thank you for correcting me. It's the Silver Dollar Nationals Trace, not the 4th one. That's a little ways away.
I said, did I miss something?
You've been asleep for a year.
Yeah.
We tried to wake you up. You apparently didn't get your beauty sleep enough.
No.
But hey, we appreciate you guys joining us this week on the Legends of the Dirt series. We'll do it all again next week. And thank you to Kosiski Auto Parts for bringing us the Legends of the Dirt series for the 2nd straight year. And thank you to Joe's Karting for continuing to be the presenting sponsor for the Front Stretch. Everybody have a good weekend, boys. Try not to get in any trouble for the rest of your weekends, all right?
Yeah.
All right, this has been the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
It's back again this year. Make memories at Quaker Steak & Lube on Monday, December 16th, and have dinner with Santa. Mr. and Mrs. Claus love the lube, and your family will too, with free photos with Santa. And the kids could win one of 3 Razor scooters we're giving away. Don't forget, stock up on the lube gift cards, the perfect stocking stuffer. Dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Claus, Monday, December 16th from 5 until 8 p.m. And don't forget, kids eat free with an adult purchase. Quaker Steak & Lube, next to the Mid-America Center, Council Bluffs.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.